Hello and welcome back to the Hybrid Hangout podcast. Alora Rachelle, thank you so much for hanging out with me. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm so stoked for today. Alora and I are obsessed with each other. I love going on her podcast, which is The Wedding Atelier, correct?
Actually, we changed it. It's often ambitious
Oh,
now. Yeah.
we have a rebrand. Wait, we both rebranded. Okay,
Yeah.
tell me the podcast name. What's going on with this podcast?
Yeah, so it's called Often Ambitious, and it's because I want to be able to have more conversations than just about what wedding photographers are doing and wedding industry people. Sometimes I want to hear from other entrepreneurs what they're doing and creatives, and I don't know, I just wanted to be able to reach more people. But I mean, ultimately, the purpose of it, of course, is for wedding photographers. But yeah, it just people who want to
Okay.
be ambitious, but not all the time. That's why I said often ambitious.
Okay, if you can't already tell by that explanation why we're obsessed with each other, then I don't know what to tell you. But Alora is an absolutely incredible voice in the wedding photography space. She teaches photographers, just like you, beautiful, gorgeous listener, how to scale past six figures without burning out. So, today we are going to be talking about booking those $10,000 plus weddings without having to do doubleheaders and be stressed and hate your life. So, Laura, with that said, I had you on a previous version of the podcast, but can you just briefly describe how you help photographers scale and what that looks like in your world?
Yeah, so I am a wedding photography business coach. I was a wedding photographer for 12 years with two children, and I am the true story of what it takes to burn out aggressively and want to burn the business to the ground. Or you could raise your prices and book less weddings. And then when I raised my prices and book less weddings, I was obsessed with that. And so then I said, well, I don't want to turn away the other weddings, so I'm just going to start a team. And pregnant with my second child, I said, I'm going to start an associate team. So I did that, and we launched it, and the business made six figures. I booked less than 12 weddings, and I had the best year of my life as a mother. And I had no idea that there are only a few steps that you really need to take to be able to up level your business without sacrificing everything. Like, there really is a better way. And if you feel like you're at this place where you're like, oh my gosh, like, what monster did I create? I promise you, on the other side of success, it does exist.
I know there's so many listeners right now who are like, that is me. Like, Alora is speaking directly to me. So, Alora, if there's someone in their car right now who's like on their way to another wedding, doing like five or six or more every single month, and is just in the quantity game, what would you say to someone who's spinning their wheels like that right now?
Yeah. I always like to come at this from a strategy perspective because at heart, I am a strategist. I love to tell everybody what to do and what I've done versus me showing up a million times every day. I'm like, here's the strategy, go ahead and implement it. This is how you do it. So I think you have to first come at it from the point of realizing what exactly is the problem. Because a business is so convoluted in a way that you can't just say, oh, well, I don't like my clients. Okay, well, why don't you like the clients that you're serving? Or is it that you don't like how many you're booking? Or you don't like where you're like what you're charging or the weddings you're showing up to? Like, where do you feel that resentment coming up as you're driving to a wedding? And I know that feeling, the feeling of like, let me charge this gear. Let me say goodbye to my kids every single week, sometimes 3 times a week, and I'm going to do this thing, but I feel like it doesn't light me up anymore. And it's almost like you're on the verge of like creative burnout. So figuring out what that is first is going to be the answer to the problem. Now, for example, let's just say you're booking too much and you feel like you're missing out on everything, and people stopped inviting you to events, to parties, to gatherings because you're too busy. You're not going to come anyway. And you feel like all you do is work and you don't have any fun. I didn't have any fun until COVID. COVID changed my life. Some people are like, COVID ruined this, that, and ever, and people are getting divorced. I'm like, COVID saved everything for me. I realized that rest was the greatest thing to ever happen. And I remember saying, as I took my daughter to the beach in Lake Michigan for the first time ever, and she's like 3.5, I will never be this busy ever again. COVID showed me that you can rest and you can have success and you can balance the two, maybe not perfectly, but you can strive for it. And business boundaries, like, I don't even know where to begin, Shayna. There's so many things I can talk about. I need a specific question, and then I'll just like hammer that in, because I'll talk about all of the pillars of starting a professional business.
I mean, why not? We have the time. Listen, when you say like, I will never be this busy again, I know that hits so many people who are currently trying to multitask but can't focus on what they're doing because you're speaking directly to them. And so if they're in that place, like, what would be the first step to being able to raise their prices to a point where they don't feel like they have to take on so many weddings in a year?
Yeah. The biggest mindset thing, I think, when it comes to raising your prices and realizing you want to serve people at a higher caliber with less weddings, is the mindset of you can turn people away, which means when you raise your prices, people are going to say, oh, that's not in our budget, and you have to not crash out. You have to keep going. Like, the crash outs that occur when it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so used to booking 80%. And I'm like, 80% is not sustainable. So when you, let's say you're at, I don't know, 5 to 7K now, and you're used to like an 80% conversion. If you raise your prices to 9K, let's say starting at 9K, like 9, let's like 9, 10, 12, 9, 10, 12. And you're like, okay, this is it. I'm putting it out there. And then like the first 3 say, oh, it's not in my budget. So then what do? You lower it back down, and then you raise it back up. And then I have some students who are like, I actually just quote it based on their budget. And I'm like, that's mortifying. Please don't do that. Please. Custom packages are great, but you need to come at it from like a custom luxury positioning versus being like, what is your budget? That's what I charge. Like, we need a CEO system here that you can follow by, and that keeps you in check too, because sometimes you have to protect yourself from yourself. Like, future you needs to know what to do, and future you needs to be able to check and be like, that couple probably wasn't a good fit. They were actually looking for a really good discount. Like, sometimes they will tell you in the inquiry what they're looking for, and they'll say like, oh, I'm actually just looking around. Like, some people have that in their contact form, like, where are you at in the process of booking? And when people say, oh, we're just looking around, then you can't be upset that they said you weren't within their price range. So knowing that you can tell people no. Not everybody's going to be the right fit, but the right fits will find you. You're going to be booking less anyway. So you have to get that in your mind that, like, not everybody's going to say yes. A couple of no's shouldn't make me change my prices. I think the second thing is changing your positioning, which is the thing that comes naturally to me, is positioning yourself for luxury. And I was a serial rebrander. I have since recovered. I haven't rebranded in a year.
That's recovering.
365 days.
I haven't rebranded since the first time I rebranded in like 2019.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I mean, this is what you get.
Honestly, I loved your rebrand, by the way. But you had to for legal reasons. Like, that's a podcast episode you already have.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. The education business, but the visuals are still the same. Like, we're chilling. My photo video business, though, I was like, no, this is good. We're going to stay here forever.
That was your IP anyway. But when it comes to rebranding, and I mean, you know this, Shayna, because you've rebranded too. Like, it needs to come from more of a strategic from a strategic position versus vibes. Like you were talking about on my podcast, how like aesthetics, this, that, and the other, and then trending. I feel like your brand should not necessarily be a trendy aesthetic. It should be the kinds of couples that you want to serve. You should be magnetically attracting them, but also, like, don't put on someone else's clothes. Like, I created a luxury brand that was just like the really wealthy version of me, but I was still in there. My style was in there. My personality was in there. My personality copy was in there. My accolades were in there. Like, I have been shooting at that point. Let's see, for that rebrand, was I already shooting at 10 years? I think I was already shooting like 7 to 10 years. So if you've been shooting that long, you've been featured somewhere. Even if you haven't been featured, you have the accolades. You've been shooting at least 100 weddings, 150. Raise those prices. Like, what are you waiting on? Okay. And I think too, and I'm going to create this actually because of the world of AI. I can create like a 100K pricing dashboard or something where you can put in the numbers and be like, oh, is that what I'm supposed to be charging based on just my expenses alone? Oh, and then including the lifestyle that I want to live. This is not an emotional reaction anymore. This is something that I have to do to live the life that I want to live. Data over drama, right? And so you'll have to keep coming back to that, coming to the data, and then all the mindset reframes that'd be like, it's okay if I turn a client away. They weren't the right fit. Someone else will come along. Because how many weddings do you need to say booked at 10K? 10. 10. Like, I mean, if you get 50 to 100 inquiries a year, you only need to book 10 of them. So then now you get to be more selective versus you saying that everything is in their court. It's almost like the ball's in your court. Like, you're a high-end photographer now, okay? Things have changed. There's just so many ways to go about this, and I have actually no idea what tangent I'm on. But I think there is a cost of staying stuck in the same pricing for 3 to 5 years.
I agree with you. Here's where I want to go, because mindset-wise, I think you're right on the money, where that feels like a really, really scary jump for photographers in that 5,000 to 7,000 range. Because I bet to get to that place, those same photographers had to do mindset work to even think that they were worth that much, worth being in quotation marks. Mm-hmm. Here's what has come up for a few of my students. And I'm so curious to know if you align with me on this. So I'm going to be a little vague about it. But what is the difference between a $6,000 photographer and a $10,000 to $15,000 photographer?
Confidence. I mean, I could say, oh, go ahead.
No, keep going.
I could say the branding, but there are so many photographers. I do website audits and I do pricing audits all the time. And I'll come across their website and I'll look. I know they just rebranded. They spent probably 10 G's on this rebrand. And then I'll look at their pricing and it's 5K. And I'm like, now you just repelled me. Did you just start yesterday? Like, why? Right. What's going on? So it could be a couple of things, but I've seen people I know that they're not confident in their pricing, or I think that they just started and they just raised their prices from 3K to 5K to get to that point. So there's a lot of things that can point to this.
Yeah. So my specific example, and I love that you just said this, is that I was going back and forth with a photographer who had just raised their prices they have a $6,000 package and they had never sold it before. And I made an offhand comment of, well, that doesn't really mean anything to the consumer. Like, because they kept talking about their worth. Like, my work is the work of a $6,000 photographer. They kept saying that over and over again. And I said, well, that actually means nothing to a client because they don't know what things cost. They just know if you can help them or not. And this person was then saying, I said this is an ego problem because there's really no difference between a $3,000 photographer or a $6,000 photographer or a $10,000 photographer as far as the work goes from the perspective of a client. And this person pushed back saying, oh, my work is obviously better than a $3,000 photographer. And I replied, does a client think so? Because that's all that really matters is the market. To me as a client, if you're just scrolling through people's Instagrams, elopement and wedding work just all kind of looks the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would you say to that?
I mean, I would say a lot of things, but I do think it's not just the portfolio, but right. I think the portfolio is another thing too. I personally am a brand girly. I went to school for web design and then it's like, no, I'll be a photographer instead. So design, aesthetic, graphics, visuals, and I'm already a photographer. All of those things lean so heavy to me, even like studying luxury brands and seeing the way that they have things set up. Less is more, not having 7 packages, not having your pricing start from 2K and then ending at 10K, not having the same thing included in every package. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. And I'm not even the client. Like I'm your mentor and I'm confused. So if I'm confused, they're confused.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We always say in this business, the royal, we always say clarity is kindness, where it's like, you're not serving a client if you're confusing them.
Yeah. And then I think that could be attributing to why a lot of couples are ghosting, which there is a little bit of a caveat right now in the industry that the middle is disappearing. So I thought it was interesting that you said that, oh, I'm worth a 6K. Like 6K is not really cutting it anymore. It's too
Right?
expensive.
It's too
Sorry.
expensive for the lower class. And it's
Not high enough.
scary. Yeah, it's
It's not high
scary,
enough for
like
the high
a
end.
gamble. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have to pick one. You have to pick one, I think. If you're ready to just jump and go from that like 7 to 9 really quick and then hop on over to 10K, like then let's do it. Let's take the leap. But if you want to stay at the 3 to 5K and you know you're going to get 50 inquiries and you know you're going to book them all, that's totally fine. That's the life that you're going to live. But if you want less work and more life and less weekends that you're going to be on the computer or off at a wedding, then you have to make that decision, which is so funny. You said on my podcast, you have to decide, but like, I will tell myself when I'm feeling really stuck, it's like, okay, just decide. Like, just decide that this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go all in.
I feel like you're coaching me on my education business right now, not on my photo video business.
She's like,
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I'm just going to decide. I'm going to market better.
No, literally me. Me marketing on Instagram. Me marketing on YouTube. Like, what?
Okay, so to those listening now, they're like sort of on the fence. They're wanting to push back that 6,000 isn't a lot of money because that's where their money mindset is right now. What do you
Sure.
say to a photographer that's like, no, like that price point feels big to me. What would I have to do to be worth 10,000 or more? Because I feel like that's usually the language I hear from photographers in this
Yeah.
headspace.
I remember when all of my friends made the jump from 5K to 10K. Like, it was that fast. And I was driving in circles, trying not to go home, DM voice messaging all of my friends, being like, oh my gosh, like, I can't do it. I can't charge 10K. Like, 10K is luxury, da da da. And I remember my friend being like, she's already at like 15, 20K. She's like, 10K is not, like, it's really not that serious. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, once you go from there, you just kind of shoot on up. Like, it's not even that big of a deal. Just do it. Well, I did. And at that point, I think I tripled my prices because it was so overdue. I was burnt out. And I was like, I don't think I raised my prices in 5 years. I've just been saying yes to everybody. Oops. Shame on me. And, you know, if you have a really big mindset issue about this and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not worth, which I hate that so much because you are worth an infinite amount of money. Like, your worth is not tied to a price tag and how many years you've been in business, and like you are valuable as you are. We're talking about like your skills, your business, which is completely separate. That is completely separate, okay? So if you can remind yourself of your own worth, not attached to the business, you're going to go so much further. And I feel like that's how you are successful in business, is being able to detach that. The artist from the artistry, the artist from the business, like the artist from the CEO. Like, they are two different things, but they come together as one. But sometimes, like, let's say somebody ghosts you. You immediately think, oh my gosh, my work is terrible. Oh, my website is broken, you know? And it could just be a life situation for them. Or they could be busy and you can just circle back. Like, so many times, a lot of these things could be fixed with sales tactics. Did you circle back? Did you follow up 3 to 5 to 7 times and then close it? No? Okay, then you think one time? Like, do you know how fast-paced the world is right now? We are all over many different platforms, and I have forgotten. I have open text messages where I'm like, did somebody text me? And I see my draft, and I'll send it and be like, I should have sent this a month ago. I am so sorry. Like, there are so many things going on in the world other than your issue of, I need clients to book me and I need to be worth this amount of money. But if you are struggling, you can always strategically rebrand the wealthy version of you. That is like the work that I do, is aligned artistry and messaging and just taking you, putting the personality like back into the business, because the only thing that keeps you booked and standing out from what everybody else is doing and just staying alive as a business owner is just being yourself. Like, what is your style? What are the words that describe your work? How are your couples describing your work? How are your couples describing the experience with you? What makes you you? What do you like? What don't you like? Do you have a hot take to share? We love a hot take over here. That's all we do. And then you take those things, you turn that into your beautiful brand book, you make that into a brand, and you talk about it constantly, confidently. You get the inquiries because you haven't stopped showing up, and nobody can compare to you because you are authentically yourself. You're real. And, well, what do you know? I guess 10K doesn't seem that scary after all because you are the only option.
Hell yeah. Okay, I'm so fired up by this. And what it's actually bringing up for me is I have had students and listeners of this podcast who think that in order to make the jump, they need to start putting off a certain image. I struggle with the word luxury because I think it's interpreted so narrowly, where I'm like, if my dumb ass can make the amount of money I do without being obsessed with brands and being obsessed with looking a certain way, then I just want to keep spreading the message that being a watered down version of someone else's quote unquote luxury brand is not going to be what converts those types of clients for you. Can you speak to what authenticity actually looks like when crafting this image to project potential clients?
I mean, well, I kind of said just kind of putting like yourself into the business, but if you really want, I think sharing your own unique perspective, but also sharing like your couples and why you like them and why you liked certain images, what your style is. Can you describe it in 3 to 5 words? Great. Those are your brand words. Why don't you go ahead and completely shape your Instagram profile based on those words if you have no idea what to post, you know? Or there are certain moments that you're obsessed with. Why are you obsessed with them? Tell me a story about them. Tell me a recent wedding you shot. How did it make you feel? What happened? Like, go back to being a storyteller, not only with your images, but also with your words. You got it. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's just waiting to be used.
I love that. Okay, I'm so excited about this. So a listener at this point of the conversation has heard us talk about the mindset of making that price jump, about being extremely authentic and showing up as yourself as you're like showing up online. Can we talk about besides personal branding, what does positioning that offer look like in this process, Alora? What do you have people do as their first steps after they make this huge price jump?
After they make the huge price jump, after we go through all of their expenses and see what they really should be charging versus what their old pricing is, first of all, they are alarmed, as well am I. And then we take the step to start working on their artist story. And so the artist story is something I came up with where you share 3 parts of your personal brand, essentially. So the first part is your purpose. Why do you do it? Who do you do it for? What's your style? Okay. The second part is the process. It's behind the scenes. What does it look like with you on a wedding day? Working with you on a wedding day? What does it look like being a typical client? What are things that you do that nobody else does? Why should they hire you? And then the last part is the portrait, which is all personal brand. Like, what are things that people can connect with? Like, I have a friend who always has a brown sugar oat milk, you know? And you don't have to do these things if you're like, oh, that feels so cringy. But sometimes people kind of call it out and be like, oh my gosh, I have this, or I thought about you. This is the one thing that you're always talking about. For me, it's probably Korean skincare at this point. But in my newsletter, I always sign off by saying something like, I'm having a brown sugar oat milk, or this is a journaling prompt, or this is a mindset shift. Like, I am always a mindset girly. And so you just got to have some things that you're kind of known by and people can recognize, and also things that people can relate to. Like, are there things that you're comfortable sharing? There's things you're probably not comfortable sharing, like maybe your kids, right? We both have kids. But we can talk about other things other things within ourselves that we feel comfortable sharing. Like, there's tons of, like, for me, I'm an interior design junkie. like self-proclaimed, of course. I always said Joanna Gaines is my cousin because I'm actually half Korean and we might be cousins, who knows. So all of these things that just make you you, and all those little personality quirks, like people connect with that and they're going to want to work with me, on top of the fact that this is my style and this is where I am, and nobody else can compare to that. Like nobody can be you, and that's your superpower.
I love this so much. I hope all of you listening in your car are as inspired as I am right now by what Alora is saying. And so if you're in this place mentally where you're coming around to the fact that the price jump really is necessary in order to get your time back and your sanity, if you're coming around to the fact that you need to position yourself and your offer really, really well in order to convert people at that price point, but your objection right now is that no one's finding you in the first place. Or you might be thinking that in order to sell at more luxury prices, you need to be fed those weddings by a planner. What would you say to any listeners that are having those fears about people not finding them in the first place?
Absolutely. So we were talking about on my podcast about marketing, and I do the same thing. We have a short form marketing content, and then we also have long form. And so in our program, we have SEO audits like every other month where they can submit their website, get actual feedback on the call, and know what they need to implement. Keywords are coming up for, so they don't have to figure that out and hire separately. I just feel like it's so important to know what you're ranking for, but also, as we had mentioned before, that long form content lives forever. It is a slow game. It is a slow game, but it pays off forever and ever. Old content can even come back and still work for you. And so that's important. Making sure that is set up. I personally think you should set up your long form first. And then once you have that established and ready to go, have a couple blog posts and everything's good, then start getting into the short form content, because you can make a post on Instagram and get inquiries just by education, just by showing up, just by showing behind the scenes, which is kind of like what I mentioned before, is like we teach how to make content using your artist story. So like you're going to be showing who you do this for. You're going to be showing behind the scenes what it looks like working with you. And then you're going to come up on your Instagram stories and just be yourself and have fun. I have had so many weddings because I was showing off my daughter back then, where they were like, can your daughter come to my wedding? So I'd be like, husband, can you bring my daughter to the wedding? She's been to 3 weddings before the age of 2. Doesn't remember a single one, but guess what? She's in the photographs. It's going to be in the album somewhere.
Should be. As she should be. Queen behavior.
Yes, Queen Ella. And so, I don't know. I just feel like the connection bit is really what's going to carry us in this world of AI, in this world of chronically being online, and have chronically been online since 2020. We're coming up on 6 years, and I think people just want the human connection, and people just want to know that they can trust the person behind the lens, not just to do their work, but also to like care about their work and care about your couples. I have had photographers that have said like, well, I don't like kids, or I don't like this. And I feel like they should be working with the people that appreciate that. But if you do love kids and you do love photographing family members, then they need to be connected to the right couples. Like you need to be able to call out and reach to the people. You should be able to call out and reach the people that you want to work with perfectly in harmony, which goes back to brand and messaging. I think I'm always talking about that. But once those things are succinct and you're able to market all of these things, then the pricing will just come naturally, because you're going to be getting inquiries and you're going to have a rebrand, right? A very aligned, strategic, high-end rebrand. And then you're going to be able to say, you know what? I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's hit 5 figures. Let's send these custom proposals. I had a student, she was charging $6K when she first came. And now she's making custom packages for $20K, $30K, and $40K in the south of France. Now she's actually my luxury wedding photographer coach, because obviously I was like, she actually pitched me and I said, yes, right away. Like, you had results in 12 months. Let's do this. Teach everybody how to do this. And so like the follow-up process is much more intricate, and it is different. Like, don't get me wrong, like changing your whole business structure and pricing structure, it's a lot of work, but it will pay off way longer than it took you to start this business in the first place. So if you can take the leap, if you can just decide what it is that really matters to you. How many weddings do you want to book a year? At what price point? How many weekends do you want freed up? What do you want to do with all this money when you have it? What does your dream business look like to you? And then you'll have all the answers you need to know what you need to do.
I resonate with that so much. I think when you define the end result, then the steps to get there are pretty obvious. And then if there's steps that you feel yourself coming to blows with, like if there's steps in that process that you know will help you get to your final result, but it's the line in the sand for you on if you're willing to do it, then that's a gut check, you know, because it's going to take money to do the rebrand. It's going to take time to implement the marketing. But if you're willing to do the things that it will take to get to your final result, then an object in motion stays in motion, baby. Like, you are going to get there eventually. And I love that you laid it out so beautifully for everybody. And so I would love for you to take a few minutes to talk about how you can help photographers listening get to this next level in their business.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad that you asked. I have a free live masterclass coming up May 19th. So if you are listening to this before the 19th, definitely RSVP. I'm sure the link will be in the show notes somewhere. But we're going to be talking about the 10K wedding formula and how you can raise your prices sustainably, but also what's working in the industry right now to call in and attract those premium clients. If you're tired of the word luxury, high-end, premium, luxury, whatever it looks like to you, it's people that are willing to pay 10K and above. My students are doing it. It is absolutely possible. And I will be walking you through pricing structures. I will be doing free pricing audits. So once you RSVP, fill out a form, send me your pricing, and I'll rip it up live. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to be walking you through the process of how my students are doing this. And you can do it in 12 months or less, I promise. And I can't wait to see you inside. It'll be really fun.
Alora, I just love the shit out of you. I think you're so smart and beautiful and gorgeous, and you're helping these photographers scale like you wouldn't believe. So please join Alora for that free masterclass. It's linked below. And also tell them where they can find you on Instagram.
Yeah, so it's Instagram at alora.rachelle. And my podcast is Often Ambitious. And yeah, that's how you can get in touch with me. Send me a DM. Let me know you listen to the podcast. I'm all about Instagram DMs. I check them more than my text messages, which is a problem. And yeah, hang out with me. I'm excited to meet you. Anybody from Shayna's world, I feel like, is going to be a ball to hang out with because we're essentially the same person.
Totally. No, everyone here is really, really fun. So go hang out with Alora some more because she is so much fun too. Alora, thank you for hanging out with me.
Thanks for letting me come on here and yap about all the things. And I hope that I can help you guys book 10K weddings this year or in 2027. Bye.
Beautiful, gorgeous, perfect raccoon with a camera. Let's hang out.